love again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. It is Geordies here, Geordies there. I'm joined by George, Mitch, Stu, Al Walid and Steve Wilkinson. Steve Hasty might join us. He's finishing work a little bit later tonight, but if he doesn't join us, we will see him for the Amigos on Friday, which will be at the earlier time of 5 o'clock. And plenty to get our teeth into tonight. It wouldn't be fair if we didn't start with that wonderful performance against Arsenal, George. And don't forget, you can ask George a question, get them in. We'll ask them halfway through the programme. But George, great result. Eddie Howe often struggles against the top four teams. That was a comprehensive display against a team that was chasing Champions League, but now looks as if they'll be in the Europa.
Well, I think anybody's read what odd things I've written was that I was struggling to remember a night when I felt quite as happy as I did on the other night. It was tremendous. I mean, I think the nearest I can come to is a couple of games when we won the championship with Rafa, where we from the off took teams apart and just, it was just a joy. And last night was the first time since Eddie Howe came or since anybody else came that I've seen was set out from the very beginning to take a team apart, and that's exactly what we did comprehensively. I mean, I've seen some of the comments, but what irritates me is the only person that's given us the real credit for what happened the other night is the Arsenal manager, Arteta. He said, they were 100% better from us at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end, and we didn't deserve to win anything. And yet, when you look at some of the comments from other commentators, you think Arsenal were in the game. Frankly, they never were in the game. There was never an opportunity, I felt the other night, that we were going to lose that match. And to start off on the front foot and keep it going the whole of the 90 minutes, we had 77% of the possession, which for us is remarkable. I mean, we haven't had that, as I say, since we won the championship with Rafa. And odd times before that, you're back to the sort of levels of the entertainers. And that's the sort of compliment I could give them, and it was tremendous. And from back to front, it's everybody played their part. Even some of the people who I've had doubts about performed on Monday night. I mean, Emil Kraft's not. I don't mind saying people would know is not my favourite fullback, but he was great. Absolutely on top of everything, and across the back line. And the only thing I was thinking about was people are commenting about who the thing's going to stay and who's going to move. Well, if everybody that Amanda Staveley gives a hug to is staying, nobody's going anywhere. they're all here to stay. So it was a joy to behold. Absolutely, and pre-match. I mean, I'm an open fan of war flags and have done me a little bit for them when I can. I've got to say that was just unbelievable. What a pre-match setup, to get the fans going. That obviously filters through the dressing room because you could see some of the comments from players afterwards and one or two on the field as well. I think there was a picture on Twitter of Hayden talking to Wilson saying, "Never seen anything like this ever before in my career." That's the kind of night it was. So absolutely amazing. Difficult to fault anybody. And lo and behold, our first goal came from a bloody foul throw. I mean, of all things for me, and Arsenal actually had a foul throw given against them. I mean, the bloke didn't even attempt to throw it, so the referee could do nothing other. And when we got the chance to take it over, of course, we went upfield and scored the first goal. So it had everything for me. And of course, I had the joy of sharing it all with Steve next to us and all my usual friends around in by 1892. And great night. Difficult to match it. I just hope, as I said in one of my tweets, I hope that's the first of many. And anyhow, has been getting lots of plaudits. Incidentally, I'm wearing a light green T-shirt, not by chance. I've scoured the wardrobe to make sure I had one I could wear. So, there's no doubt. How naive are these so-called intelligent reporters and others to think that we're going to be signed up by one of the top businesses in the world, who have connections with even more influential businesses in the world, and they're not going to involve them in what they're doing. How stupid do they think we are, and how naive do they think we are? It beggars belief that they would think that our owners would ignore their connections and for the sake of sobriety and all that. So doing all they can to make sure everybody connected with Newcastle and the club and football feels welcome, is welcome. They miss the fact that one of our co-owners happens to be Jewish, and he's working with the Saudis without any problem, and vice versa. And just to top it off, because I'm going into a rant now, I looked today and there was a piece in the Express about a play on in London being To Kill a Mockingbird. That's the play, and any of you've read it or have read about it, it's the most deep commentary on racism, slavery, and everything else that you can think of. And who's sponsoring that play in London? The bloody Daily Mail, would you believe? I mean, they started all this stuff off about the strip and about sports washing and all the rest of it. And yet they're prepared to sponsor a play which says everything you don't want to know about racism and slavery. So anyway, great night. And obviously you can see how excited I am about what's been going on.
And a George Mitchell rant to boot. Fantastic. That's what the people want. Tells us, lads, what a second half of the season. Still buzzing and how good a Mitch's dice is on a Friday night. The 2-0 rule on Friday. A big up to all NUFC Matters team for the shows. Look forward to the summer shows. Yeah, Mitch, the dice was right again, but it was fantastic performance from Newcastle, and it was a team performance.
I can't remember seeing us dominate a game like that for such a long time, from start to finish. And to do it against a team that have not really got a good recent record against, and who were making all the wrong noises, or the right noises, if you will, about what they were going to do to cement their Champions League place, and they were coming back from this beating at Tottenham. I think I said I didn't feel that they would be the same wounded animal that Man City were, and they just weren't. They had the stuff and knocked right out of them, and we kept going. And I can't remember seeing his complete centre-forward performance as Callum Wilson put in. I thought he was excellent from start to finish. I think plaudits to everyone who I think it's the best we've seen of Sean Longstaff in a long time. And I think that puts certain things for the summer into perspective about where the squad's concerned and where we need to build and where we maybe don't need to build. And I think everybody responded to a fantastic evening, set up from the start by War Flags. It was one of those nights where the crowd and the team feed off each other, and it becomes synergistic. It becomes so much more than the sum of the parts, and that's what St James's Park can be like, and what I hope it's going to be like going forward. It should be a place that teams don't want to come. It should be a place that teams know to come across that white line at St James's Park, you're going to have to fight for every ball, and you're going to get kicked up a height, and you're going to have a battle on your hands. And I think that's the kind of atmosphere that can push people forward. I saw a comment from a couple of Arsenal fans that I know over here saying that the atmosphere we created on Monday night is everything that the people at Anfield think they are. And I thought that was a fantastic compliment. And so, yeah, I mean, you can't fail to be excited now going forward into the close season and looking forward to it. Transfer moves over the summer and seeing where we're going and how we're going to build.
Yeah, it's interesting, Stu. A lot of people still pointing out that Alan Little in particular, we received no credit from the media for the Arsenal win. It was all about Arsenal's failure, Stu.
Yeah.
And the biased commentary from the likes of Merson and Alan Smith, and it was awful.
Well, it's biased in our opinion, isn't it? Because our only focus is on Newcastle, but we have to remember they're doing a national show, aren't they? And Newcastle really had nothing to play for. Where Arsenal, the whole idea of being was they're going to beat us. That will cement their place in the top four and everything else. So that I can live with, and how they portray it, I can live with, and even the bias, because we're going to have to live with it. But it'll change, and it is changing already. You see, as George mentioned, Arteta, how he mentioned we were 100 times better, and how we were the first to every ball. And as Mitch just said there, I can't remember us playing like that for a long, long time. And I managed to get Sky Sports Company, so I'm au fait with what's been said by the Carragher's and Nevilles and that. And now instead of getting angry, I just smile at them. And I just say, you just watch how you're going to change your rhetoric and how you're going to comment on Newcastle over the coming seasons. Even that Curtis Woodhouse today was trying to applaud us after writing us off for the last 6 months. So it's one of those, if their opinion counts, then take it at heart, but they don't to us. What counts to us is what happened on Monday night. And that's those people on the pitch representing us in those stripes. And by God, did they represent us. And as much I was enjoying it, I was sitting watching it with a better half. And I know I must have said it a lot of times, because by half time she went, okay, I get the point. You wish you were there. You want to be there. And because I kept saying, oh, so much want to be there. And it's that was, can you hear it? Can you hear it? And I'm daft as I am, I'm sitting singing the songs, watching the game with her and stuff like that. But with COVID and everything else, I haven't been able to get back as much. But this season, I've been fortunate enough to get back to 4 games. And the atmospheres have been varying, but all a lot better than what they have been over the previous decade and a half. But you could sense it even through the TV, how Monday was something different. It was like the rebirth of the club. Everyone knew we were safe. It was a fond farewell to some. It was, we are now on the stage, and we've got lift-off coming over the next few months. And never mind this dare to dream. I think we can dream, and realistically dream as well. And again, as Mitch said, Wilson's performance was magnificent. I thought he was just touting for a dental job there when he mentioned Wilson, by the way. With his tooth hanging out and stuff. But he was. And if they've got him fit, that could save us a lot of money. Just like Joe Linton has saved us a lot. Joe Elton has saved us a lot of money with his revival. A fit Wilson with someone like Bruno and someone else feeding him with the names that are touted coming in, he'll be 20 to 25 goals a season. He's a natural finisher, and his awareness is brilliant. He knows. I was frustrated with him in the first 10 minutes. He got caught offside about 5 times in the first 10 minutes, and I think that might have just been eagerness, and he was pumped up with the crowd. But he learned quick enough, and not just him, the rest of the team, they're all magnificent. And I'd like to mention St. Maximin as well, ESM. I thought that was his best game I've seen since we played Everton at home. And simply because he did the simple things. He was becoming a one-trick pony, get the ball, overstep, shimmy, whatever, but he'd always cut inside. The first 2 of the first 3 times he got the ball, he went on the outside. And whether his cross was good or not, his job is to beat that right back marking him. And each time he beat him, because now the right back's got in the back of his head, is he going that way or that way? Where for previous games, it's like, we know he's going to cut inside, and we'll just clog up these options. So I thought that was his best performance. And if I'm man enough to criticise him, I should be man enough to praise him. But magnificent, 2-0 against Arsenal. Just to round off, there's an Arsenal fan that works for me, and I says, by the way, lad, you're not going to be in the Champions League next season. Your boys will freeze when they get into that atmosphere. They're too young. You haven't got any players with big match experience like what Tottenham had with their Tanya last week. And to my word, I was right. And I was quite happy to remind them of that yesterday morning.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. Al-Walid, it must have been great for you. You've watched the takeover. You've watched the progression made by Eddie Howe. You've seen the transfer window, but that almost felt like Stu said, as if we had really arrived on the big stage. And I felt that at Chelsea. I've got to be honest. I went to Chelsea, although we lost the game narrowly 1-0. We competed with Chelsea on a level pegging there, and for me, yeah, it was it was a big game. That was the best home game of the season, the best atmosphere of the season, and certainly felt like a bit of a rebirth of the club. You must be excited.
Yes, of course. What a way to end to end the season. I wish if there is no Burnley game. Actually, I wish this game to be the last game. A lot of things I can talk about, but I catch from Stewart talking about Maximin, which was appearing so relaxed comparing to other games. He wasn't under pressure. He wasn't trying to dribbling so much. And the first goal really describe what I'm saying. And I'm very happy, and I'm very happy about this game. I so enjoyed it. Me and my friends, we watched it together at the coffee shop with the Saudi fan supporters. That was a surprise. Everybody was talking in the media that Arsenal will win. Arsenal will have a good, great score, but the opposite happened, and we controlled the game from first 1 to minute 90. I'm so thrilled, so happy, and I would like just to add that we shouldn't depend on this game. I hope I know I know the owners are experienced and the management of Newcastle, but I mean I'm talking about especially the fans. We still need to work more about the club. This game doesn't prove that we reached of course the maximum. I don't like to ruin things, but if you go to the Arsenal scores last games, there was 3-0 from Crystal Palace. There was some worse. Arsenal wasn't that hard on some occasion lately. They have less of experience as well, but we beat a good team, strong team as well as we are. And also, not to mention that maybe what helped us that we play against Manchester City, after that Liverpool, and they are in title race. So I think these two games help us much to train us well. We learned from our mistakes, and we use that experience. Of course, with the House, who did he must have manager of the year, and I think that he learned from those games, and we really beat Arsenal, and they went out of the game with a shame.
Got to ask you about the shirt, Al-Walid, because you're only on a Wednesday night on NUFC Matters, and obviously this leaked strip certainly caused a lot of controversy. It's just it's a green and white strip, but it looks great, and yeah, of course that's the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's colours, but I think that was a superb bit of marketing by whoever was behind the scenes, and I think the reaction, the over-the-top media reaction, we'll probably see a stadium full of those shirts in August at St James's Park. 52,000
I'll certainly have one.
Well, I will as well. But yeah,
we're gonna do Geordies here with all wearing this shirt.
Yeah, why not?
You won't get me in green. I'll tell you that for now. But that's nothing to do with PIF.
I love it. Steve, great result against Arsenal, mate.
Fantastic.
I mean, I came out the ground, I've got to be honest, I felt as good as I did when I came out. Newcastle had spanked Manchester United 5-0. I saw somebody mention that in the comments, and I said exactly that. It was like, it was like that kind of night, because you were just on a constant high, and even the fact that at half time I stayed in the ground and watched the young kids getting walked around the pitch and getting a standing ovation, and then Amanda and Mirdad and Jamie, of course, and a couple of the other directors walking around the pitch and taking the plaudits, at half time and then at the end of the game. And, it was fantastic to see, really. It just had a togetherness which we've not had for a very long time.
Exactly. I mean, first of all, I've worn this shirt tonight because I think you've got to dedicate this back to Keith and what was done, because without that, we wouldn't have had an occasion like this. So, that's how I thought I'm going to wear this shirt tonight. And but I think, I don't know what time you came out, Steve. I was about 10:10 when I came out. I'm waiting for the whole thing just to go around we'd had with a lap of honour by Amanda and the others at half time for half the pitch anyway. They couldn't have time to go around the whole lot, but and for them to come again, Amanda was about the last one going and she was really milking it and saying thank you to everybody. It just got a fantastic atmosphere, and I agree with you. I think it was an atmosphere to remember and an occasion to remember. I think a couple of things to point out. It wasn't like an end of season game for Arsenal. It was a cup final for them, and we were up to it. We weren't on the beach. If anybody thought we were on the beach, then that was how we are not on the beach, as I often say at the end of the season. It was a test to see. We had failed the two tests against. I think I talked about exams a few weeks ago. We've had the term time. We did well. These were the three exams. We failed the first two, but that was an A-star performance on Monday night. And if you build on it, another point about Wilson, I think we potentially saw what would have been one of the greatest goals we've seen in my time at Newcastle, because that shot from probably 40 yards, he was just in front of me when he took it. But if you look at it, he took it on his chest from a goal kick, turned it, and on the half volley hit it, and you couldn't see from the angle I had. But when you saw the replay behind it, it was going in until the last couple of minutes, and it just drifted away. And I think that would have been up there with goals that Supermax scored and Shearer and others that are memorable goals. And I think we would have been talking about that goal on this show in many years' time for the equivalent of it, if we're not doing it then. But I think Monday night was a demonstration and a line in the sand where we're above next season. I think I looked at the results, and I think going back to Leicester game on was it the 19th of December, I think, or 12th of December, and we lost 4-0 down there. If we get a result on Sunday against Burnley, the only teams apart from that weird game at Everton that we'll have lost against will be the teams that finish in the top four. And we've not lost against the rest of them, and that just really shows the level we're at. And looking forward to next season, I can see potentially fifth at worst. I think, and we could even challenge the top four if teams like Chelsea are in turmoil. As Mitch has often predicted, things aren't going to go smoothly in the next few weeks. So they may be in more of a mess than they think they're going to be, and they may disappear. Man United in turmoil. I don't see any reason why we can't, be up there in the, obviously we're not yet at the Liverpool, Man City level, but third, fourth, fifth, I can see us next season.
Yeah, fingers crossed that it's a good summer, and I think a lot of people have got expectations now, which is no surprise. Okay, big thank you as always to our sponsors. Spider Miner, worldwide coverage from Gareth Nathan and the lads at Spider Miner, the only cryptocurrency miner that can mine 5 different cryptocurrencies at the same time whilst using virtually no energy, and it's VPN protected. Buy yours now at www.miner.spidervpn.org. Thanks also to skipsandbins.com, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website www.skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay as you go waste collection. Thanks to L&G Family Funeral Directors 01913897245, and to Garden of Elan Dispensary, CBD hemp and cannabinoid specialists, www.thegohd.com. Thanks also to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Walls and Newcastle, and the guys who run our website, NUFCmatters.com. And thanks to CleakEye, meet the new game over screen, drop into a ClearRun device near you, available on Apple Store, Google Play, and clearrun.game. Thanks to Neil at Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things. If you want to subscribe, then hit the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner and you can subscribe for free. Hit the thumb up to like the video, click share to share to your social media, and drop into the comments box to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes and Spotify, Podbean, and the rest usually goes up 24 hours after the show. If you want to become a member, you can click join on YouTube, or you can scan the QR code, which takes you straight to the website, NUFCmatters.com. What do you get for your money on the website? You get a cup, a pen, a scarf, and a membership card, and entry into the monthly draw. And if you subscribe, you can apply for your free car sticker by emailing john@NUFCmatters.com. Don't forget, with the home games now over, the NUFC Fans Food Bank website is all the more important for making donations. So NUFCfansfoodbank.co.uk is where you find the virtual match day bucket, and you can donate as much or as little as you want in there throughout the summer. We've got an end of season do at Shearer's Bar, and it'll be Mick Lowes and Andy Griffin on the mics. Friday the 24th of June, 7 o'clock doors, and tickets are £12 from NUFCmatters.com. Don't forget, we've got another Shearer ball up for grabs, $2.99 a ticket. There was only 260 of these made. Alan Shearer signed them all, and get yourself into the raffle. Only 99 tickets on offer. Get yourself on the website, NUFCmatters.com. Okay, as always, on a Wednesday, we have our own special section called Ask George, and there's a few questions in already. Few simple ones for George tonight. Steve says, evening lads, ask George, has he seen a better pre-match display than the one on Monday evening at St James's Park in his lifetime?
No, was the short answer. No, that was just out of this world. I mean, I don't know. In fact, I've said out of this world. I don't think I've seen that sort of display as professional and well organised anyway. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's a long time ago, Neil, but you and I went to Barcelona for the pre-season tournament. Can you remember? And there was some great things there. Yes, that's a long time ago, but still nothing like what those lads and lasses did on Monday night. It was out of this world, is all I can say. Not at St James's Park or anywhere else. And as I say, Neil and I have travelled a bit and seen quite a lot of things, including at Barcelona, but nothing to match what those people did on Monday night. It was just unbelievable.
Okay, next one is about Elliot Anderson. Question for George. What should the club do with the talent that is Elliot Anderson?
Well, I think you lads have said it, and Stream Eagles said it. There's an old adage, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And if somebody like Joey Barton doesn't wax lyrical about somebody being a Maradona or that sort of thing without wanting to get egg on his face. So my view would be I would bring him into the fold in pre-season. He trains with the first team squad, and if he's up for it, he should be in the team.
Okay.
We lose too many youngsters at 19, 20. I mean, look at the goalkeeper. We had Daddy was a good goalkeeper, and yet he's drifted around doing loan here, loan there. And now he's lost, as far as I'm concerned. He's third choice now. He should have been, if he'd been nurtured properly, he should have been first choice. Elliot Anderson should be pressing pre-season to take the place of people like Sean Longstaff.
Can I just would he not take up at his age? Would he not take up one of the 25 spots because of his age?
No, he doesn't.
No,
so
he doesn't.
That effectively gives us a 26th player in the squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't hold his progress back either, Steve. You've got to think of that
yes,
as well.
yeah. I mean, it's but he's got to, if he's going to be loaned, it's got to be potentially even into the Premier League to the teams that come up or Championship at worst. If
you think about it, if Manchester United had taken that policy, there would never have been any Busby Babes, would there? You know, I mean, it's as simple as that for me. And as I say, if he's good enough, he's old enough. And at least he should be given a chance pre-season, in my view.
Okay, next question is from Banana Man. Says, which is the worst ground that George has been to, and any tales of shithousery that he may have seen when away teams turned up to play?
When away teams turned up to play?
Yeah.
worst ground I've ever been to, Walsall in the Midlands. I've got to say, I couldn't believe it. We went there for a cup tie, which was pretty miserable and wet.
And lost.
That's badly. And it's the first time I've watched a whole 90 minutes at a professional football ground with the mud underneath my feet going into my shoes. And it got so pushy and shovey at the end. The wall behind were collapsed, and we ended up on a railway line to get out of the ground. Now that Walsall wins by a country mile for me, I'm afraid. It was absolutely awful, absolutely awful. And the net result was, on my way home, of course, my trousers and everything was caked in mud, and we stopped at Lehman to go in to get a drink on the way home with your Uncle Jim Neil, and we went into this hotel, and we hardly got in the door when the manager came and said, "Out to what you're using," because he'd just seen the mud on our shoes and all the rest of it. So no, Walsall wins by country mile. What was the other bit? All right, okay. Well, you get all sorts of things, but I can think in the past, a significant past, is that Manchester United always used to try and intimidate people when they came onto the pitch to kick around. They would come on a bit earlier, and they'd be walloping the ball around all over the place and showing off with all the rest of it. The Busby Babes particularly good at this, and to try and just intimidate anybody that would be intimidated, really. I suspect that was a Matt Busby thing. Well, almost certainly must have been, but that kind of thing was sticks in my mind.
Okay, last questions from George. For George, he says, question for George: was George Eastham worth it?
Yes. I mean, now here's somebody I actually close to playing with a couple of times, and for me starts the problems with agents, because the idea of attacking the wage cap wasn't George Eastham's. It was the people who were running him, the agents and his minders and all the rest of it. So George, had this row in Newcastle about not sticking to a wage cap and all the rest of it. That wasn't George. He wasn't that sort of lad. He was quite a nice lad. In fact, I remember being on a coach going to a match with the reserves. I was just sort of one of the hangers-on as a young kid at that time, even for the reserves. And George got onto the bus, and he had his girlfriend with him. And he got on, and because things were quite antagonistic at the time, he got on the bus with his girlfriend, and one of the staff, I won't name the person because I know he's still alive, and he took one look at George and he said, either she gets off or you get off. And it ended up with George Eastham getting off with his girlfriend. So it was really bitter, but it wasn't George. I'm fully convinced it was the people that were operating him and advising him and advising him badly, in my opinion. But as a footballer, was he worth it? Absolutely right. He was clever. He could score a goal. And I mean, when he left, he went on to play for England quite a few times. So that he wasn't a non-starter. He was a good player, and we had him at a good time. And sadly that we didn't get him keep him a bit longer. But that's the way things were at that particular time. And Newcastle United were making a stand on the wage thing, and he was making the stand, or got the blame for making a stand on behalf of the players. When in fact, I'm convinced it was the people who were actually running him at the time, like agents and what have you.
Yeah, okay, good stuff. Thanks for your questions to George. Look, Mitch, we're getting a lot of comments about this, so let's do it tonight. What could you have done with this, Mitch?
Depends on the type of injury. I mean, it looks like on his Instagram he's got everything back in place. I mean, the thing to do with that, if that tooth is whole and isn't fractured at the root, the thing you do straight away is put it straight back to where it came from, and that's the best chance of survival that tooth has, though it should be stabilised with something. If that's been a root fracture, then often that's curtains for the tooth, and you've got to find an alternative to place it. You're probably looking at an implant eventually. Sounds like he's had some soft tissue damage with it as well, but that's not unusual. I've looked at the picture quite closely, and I can't see the whole root. So it does look like a root fracture to me, but he's got like I say, a picture on his Instagram with everything back together and in place. So it's probably just been what we call a luxation, where it gets popped out. And as I say, the thing to do with that is push it straight back in, get it right back into where it came from, and that gives it its best chance of long-term survival.
If you've got any dental issues, drop us a line at NUFC Matters in the last next week. For a price, of course, Saudi prices and Dubai prices. Classic. If you've got a season ticket, we'll give you a discount. But yeah, I mean, look, it's been a hell of a season. We'll be looking back on the season next week and obviously covering the Burnley game. But the transfer window is about to open, Mitch, and of course, yesterday when I did the show with Ross Gregory, the breaking news coming from his side of the press room was that Dean Henderson is a potential for Newcastle. Newcastle certainly looking at him. We've talked about goalkeepers before. Is he the man to make Dubravka look over his shoulder, or is he going to come in and be first place? Do you think if we go down that route, is he a good signing?
Not at 40 million, he's not. I think we could use 40 million better than that. If he was a loan signing, perhaps. Or is the quoted price showing how desperate Man United are at the moment, cash-wise? And I think we have to be looking at what's happening over the summer from a FFP and investment point of view. And I think Stu might have a little bit of tad of information on comings and goings, perhaps. So I'll leave that to Stu. But from my point of view, I'm looking at, well, how do we make the books balance and how do we make everything work out? And spending 40 million on a goalkeeper doesn't seem like a clever way to do that. He's a definite talent. He's wasted in Man United reserves. He could certainly come into our squad and give Dubravka a challenge. I think that's all Dubravka needs, is a proper, full challenge. He needs to be kept on his toes and kept keen. And I certainly don't want to see we're spending 40 million on a goalkeeper. I think we're better using our resources elsewhere, in my opinion. That said, we don't know. We're still waiting on sponsorship news, and I would suggest the recent PIF purchase of 5% in Nintendo, what looks like an overvalued price to me, might be something to keep an eye on, perhaps. Going into the summer, let's see. That seems like an interesting deal, and you won't know what the motives there are. And so that's what interests me over the summer, is how clever are we going to be with the resources that we have. And starting with Dean Henderson and £40 million does not seem clever to me, and doesn't seem like a move that will make. That said, he's a quality goalkeeper. He wants to be present to be an England goalkeeper. And I think to do that, he needs to be first choice in a top flight club. Could he come in and do that? Yes, he's got the potential to come in and do that. But he's got to get past Dubravka first, and Dubravka's got the gloves at the minute. And I think that's ultimately, does Eddie Howe see Dubravka as his number one keeper going forward, or does he have something else in mind? And if it is something else in mind, we might see a big goalkeeper clear out and a couple of keepers come in. You don't know how that's going to work. But at the minute, I would be disappointed at 40 million on Henderson, given what needs elsewhere, and we still don't know what the actual budget's going to be.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. Somebody asked us a question on Twitter, actually, a little bit earlier about Ashworth as well, Stu. And I mean, that's, talk about potentially £3 million compensation being agreed. And maybe the shirt sponsor to be a Marco. This guy, it was Shadows on Twitter. I've just found it there. Heard rumours that both are going to be announced together on the 2nd of June. I mean, lots of speculation, Stu, but Mitch alluded that you might have some kind of, mindset or a little bit of info on potential transfer news.
No, well, the transfer news, yes, but the speculation with Ashworth, I think like everyone else who follows it, it's pretty calm. He's definitely coming. It's just a case of when. And when will be when it suits the board at the right time financially. Regarding the transfer news, now, again, this isn't my opinion, it's just something I've heard from within the club, is that Shelvey's played his last game, and that's a big surprise. Considering this time last year, I think everyone would have given him away, but he's fought back and he's redeemed himself in the eyes of many supporters. But as you know, he's in Paris. He hasn't yet returned. He's enjoyed a holiday. And what I'm hearing, whether it's correct or not, is that he's... And I've got to be careful how I word this, but I've got to give the guy credit because it's something I said about Sean Longstaff. And if it's true what's been said about Giorgio Shelvey, then I think full praise is deserved. Where he wanted assurances on first-team football, and they couldn't give him it. And he says, at this stage of my career, I want first-team football. I feel like I'm good enough to play in the Premier League. So whether they've agreed a fee or he's agreed a transfer or he's looking whatever, but it looks like he will be on his way, which is a surprise, which then leads you back into who fills the midfield. Does that open the door for Longstaff to get a pay rise on his contract offer, which he's refused? Does it open the door for Hayden, who, to be fair, has never let us down and would be, to me, an exemplary squad player? He wouldn't be a first-team starter, but he'd be a very good squad player. And so there's lots of things to go on, and I have to say I agree with Mitch regarding Henderson. I don't not rate him. I think he's a good keeper, but if he was to come to us, you'd want first team. And I'm probably the one in the minority. If you remember when I did the dream team, I named Dubravka as my favourite keeper of all the ones I've watched. Not because he was the best, but I decided to choose each generation or each decade as it was. But Dubravka doesn't make that many mistakes. The problem that is in comparison to other keepers, the problem that he has been highlighted more because we've been under the cosh more. If you watch the top teams, which are, as we know, the Liverpools and the Man Cities, their keepers make massive gaps, but they've got teams that are capable of covering for it. You know, they try to be too clever with the ball, they slip, etc., etc. Yeah, I'm seeing the comments there that Shelvey was back, but that doesn't mean he's playing. You know, he's went away, and I'm just telling you what I've heard regarding the Shelvey there. Is he worth a place in the squad next season, Shelvey? Yeah, I think he is. I think he's deserved it and he's earned it. But if he wants to start every game next season or be a first name on the sheet in the midfield, it's not. I'm sorry, it's Bruno plus two others. And if we are going to progress to where we are capable of progressing, then he's not going to be one of those others. And that's the bit I've alluded to in the past, where we have to put sentiment to one side, loyalty one side, and be a bit more ruthless and say, right, we'll want to keep you, John Joe. You'll get your games, but you won't be a regular starter. And if the guys decided, no, I want to start regularly, then fair play to them. That's it. And just the last thing, Steve, is what Mitch mentioned Nintendo there. What I thought of was your caption on Troll of the Week, you know, when they were sitting there on the computer. You know, they've just managed to get, now Musk has bought Twitter, they've just managed to, the anti-PIF, anti-Saudi brigade, they've just managed to get Twitter back, and we can't fight back with that one. They'll all be throwing the PlayStations and Game Boys in the bin now. Oh, Nintendo's Saudi owned. So, you know, it's just, we are where we are. And regarding the white and green shirt, if anyone didn't see that coming, they are stupid. Yeah. And it's not often you want to say that. PIF, yeah, naive, stupid, misled or whatever. It's a simple, easy win and a massive marketing tool. And it's not green and white as people say the flag is. It's white with green trimming or green piping. Yes, it's very similar to Saudi's home strip, similar to Mexico, similar to Ireland's change strip, etc., etc. But it's for marketing. We need to generate money because we keep getting costs from different parts with new regulations, or this rule means you can't do that. And why not? Wolves had Mexico, Portugal because of players, etc. PIF owners look at their crest. Why can't we have white and green if it sells well? The population of 34 million in Saudi Arabia plus the surrounding GCC countries. Let's say we sell 500,000 at 60 quid a pop. even though we know it'll be at least $100 over here. You're going to raise $50 million instantly. That'll buy a new midfielder. That'll buy a backup striker. That'll buy Henderson if you want him in your squad. So if people want to get excited about the Culver strip and they didn't see it, to me it's just over dramatization or sensationalism for the sake of it. It's childish and it's pathetic. And I won't wear a white and green strip, but I could buy one and donate one to someone.
Yeah, it's certainly going to cause debate. I mean, Ross Gregory was on the show yesterday, and he had the complete polar opposite view to most supporters. But that's what it's all about. It's about opinions. You know, some people still are struggling to come to terms with the ownership. You know, having the link to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But that's just the way it is, and the 80% shareholders. And for me, I just wish people would move on and just concentrate on the positive atmosphere around the ground. Stop looking for negatives. Alwaleed, the ins and outs, the transfers are going to be something that we're keenly watching from the 1st of June. Shelvey, for me, we did a lot of match day lives together. And, I remember criticising quite heavily John Joe Shelvey under Steve Bruce. The performances were very poor, very lazy, and, similar under Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez didn't want him in the team, didn't want him in the squad. He confined him to the under 23s and not playing. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that Shelvey may be on his way. What's your thoughts?
Sometimes it's... even not just in football, sometimes even in your work, at the beginning of your life, maybe sometimes you compromise, you are agree on things more. But if you are expert enough, educated enough, or reach for example 30, for example Shelvey, he's not a young lad. You know that he went. His last 2 or 3 years of his career, so it's depend on what he needs. What he wants is he wants just to play more. For me, if I'm Shelvey, I would like to continue with the club as to be a part of the future. Same example like Fabian Schär, he didn't insist that he want to be in first starting lineup. So he know that maybe a much better player will come, but at least he want to see this project live. You see his, of course, I think he noticed his social media accounts become much larger after the takeover worldwide. So it's dependent what the player needs, and maybe also, of course, increase his wages. So I don't think it's the wages is the problem, but it's depend what Shelvey wants. And actually, I just hear this from you lads, and I'm not really first time I hear this, but who are gonna take for me who are gonna take Shelvey and pay him same wages as Newcastle? I don't know.
Yeah, Steve, I mean, again, it's a player which, we look at. Malcolm MacDonald has spoken about him on this show many times and saying that the reason Longstaff has underperformed in a lot of games is because he's been paired with Shelvey, and he doesn't play him in. He doesn't do him any favours. I mean, would you be upset to see Shelvey go?
No, I think he certainly has improved in the time how he's been, but he's had phases over his career here. I think if I remember rightly, when he first came, when Rafa first came in 2015, it was 15, yeah, he was captain and under McLaren, and then when after a few games when Rafa got involved, I think he dropped Shelvey. Shelvey didn't play in the last 8 or so games. I think he made Sissoko captain, I think, at that time. So he wasn't up for it then. And he had a lot of time when Steve Bruce was there, where he was up and down. And you certainly, if he played well, you got something out of him. But he always looked lazy to me, and just wanting to sit back and not really push forward. How got him playing better, but I think one of the couple of the factors that might be going, and I think this might apply to Longstaff, although not for the age reason, as Alwaleed just said, he's 30, so a year left in his contract, I think. So Is he going to get a new contract at Newcastle? I would suspect not. Is he going to get many games next season? I suspect not. So him going, even if he's going for a free at the end of next season, is going to be a player who hasn't played much football next season. And I would think he'll want to try and get away now while he's got some value from what he's produced at the moment, and his name's still heard of. And I wouldn't be surprised if the team's coming up. Ideally, he'd want to play Premier League. The team's coming up from the Championship. Fulham and Bournemouth already we know, either Forest or Huddersfield, whether he's not looking for a change for them. And, I think we're going to bring players in that midfield. Whether if Leeds go down, certainly Phillips, definitely. It might even if Leeds stay up. I think Calvin Phillips is a possibility. He's going to want to play at a high level because he's going to be pushing for England in the World Cup. So he's not going to want to play in the Championship. So if Leeds go down, he'll definitely be on the move. Paqueta, well, we don't know. But I think I certainly think we'll be buying somebody better than Shelvey in the midfield, and he's going to be a squad player at best, and maybe that's not what he's wanting at this stage of his career.
No, definitely not. But 1st of June, transfer window opens. We will see what happens. Tommy Wilson was in early with a question. He says, all right, Steve, all right, lads, what do you think about Lucas Paqueta? He's posted on Instagram with Bruno and then in a picture with Bruno, both wearing Newcastle United away kits. What's your views, lads? I mean, George, the interesting thing, I'm not sure if you've seen these photographs, is it's caused a massive fallout on social media, on that old Twitter platform, about where the photograph was taken from. I mean, it looked like somebody was suspending themselves from the roof to take them. I mean, it was rather an intrusive photograph.
Supposedly Bruno's back garden, but there's no doubt about it that we were all wearing Newcastle United strips, And frankly, since his name cropped up, and I've had a look at little bits on you can find on YouTube and other places, and he's certainly a player worth watching. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up through the door. And somebody's joking about 3 Brazilian midfielders. Well, there's something in having a core of people who are good together. So, but yeah, I mean, the pictures I've seen too look like somebody must have been sitting astride the apex of the roof next door to get those ones.
Dick Van Dyke, isn't it? The chimneys.
It is, yeah. I mean, Mitch, Paqueta has been linked, for the last few months now. The Brazilian connection, of course, good friends with Bruno. It almost has an inevitability about it.
Somebody somewhere wants it to happen. And if an agent wants it to happen, it'll happen. That's always my opinion. Them two seem very close. And Eddie Howe's comments about how we take recommendations from anyone in any way, and he's open to all recommendations, I thought was quite a telling thing to say. And we know that him and Tyndall were present at a certain game over the weekend, and so and there was more than just Paqueta to look at. But it almost does feel like a fait accompli. It really does. It almost feels like a done deal, Steve. I see his missus taking pictures of the bridges on her Instagram today as well. So obviously the bridges works.
More
bridges. It is. It certainly feels like it's Stu. That's absolutely what it feels like.
Just to clarify, that's not the bridges in Sunderland. You're talking about.
No, gosh, no. They do their shopping at the bridges. We got exactly. There's another reference to that, yeah, mate. So yeah, I mean, it does feel like a done deal almost, and I wouldn't be upset with it.
Yeah, Stu, he's been here, he's watched the games, he's close friends. It would be a great signing. I think that would be a marquee signing for me, but they would still need to bring somebody in to score the goals. But your midfield would be more or less wrapped up then. Yeah,
you're looking at this time of year, especially now Newcastle, the new buzzword, not just in the Premier League, but European, probably world football when it comes to transfer links. There'll be a lot of work from agents linking Newcastle just to get the prices up or the salaries up and stuff like that. But this Paqueta, the old saying, there's no smoke without fire. You know, it's some of it actually seems staged, some of it seems genuine, but there's a big push for him to come here. And you see other people saying we've only got a 50 million window. So that means we can't have Henderson and Paqueta if certain Telegraph journalists are telling the truth. You know, so you have to like, take everything in its merit and think, right, Paqueta and Bruno play well together, and I genuinely see it coming. But I also see Calvin Phillips coming, irrespective of whether Leeds get relegated or not, because you look at his position in Newcastle on the up, and the choices that he's been linked with are us, Man United or Villa. I think with the Lancashire Yorkshire thing, I don't think you'd want to cross the Pennines and play for Man United. And again, they're a team in massive transition with a lot of question marks over how they'll be next season. And if any player worth his salt who's looking for something with the potential to win trophies and solidify his place in the England squad would choose Aston Villa over Newcastle, then they don't deserve to come to us. So we're just up the road from him in Leeds. I would love to see him there. Then you've got Paqueta, then you've got Bruno. Does that leave Joe Linton out? Is to change formation? But you need a squad of quality players because people get injured, people need rested, people get suspended. And that's what I have for me. And I just want to say regarding Shelvey, I've got some new staff this week and I've been
Oh, he's gone.
in a company. It's how you leave. You know, you come in and you promise a lot, you get promised a lot, but if you can leave with your head held high, then you get the reception that you deserve. Your reputation is credible. And that, to me, that's very similar to what football's like. I think if Shelvey does go and he does come back next season with a Premier League club, I think you'd get a warm reception. Whereas it was this time last time, he wouldn't have. So let's bring Paqueta in, let's bring Calvin Phillips in. And honestly, I want to be 2 years ahead and see where we are. Because I really genuinely believe we can be top 6 next season. And we just need tweaking. We don't need massive improvement, we need tweaking. And that's it, just a few quality additions to improve what we've got. And the stats are there to show that we can match everyone bar 2, possibly 3 teams. That gets you the top 4, but let's say top 6 to be keep the feet in the ground.
I'll lead. Stu wanting some, some incomings. Is 5 going to be enough, like Tim Cairns is suggesting? Do you think 5 good players?
If we see the position we need, it's like 5 to 7. It depends now. It's about the budget. And
actually, it's 5 to 7 in the UK. So time-wise, it is 5 to 7 in the UK. Sorry.
All right. So 5 to 7, and of course we need the quality to beat the top 4. And regarding Paqueta, I used to not see that happening, but we're living in, it's conditional year and special year. Everything could happen, and I never see a hint by a player really want to move to a club like this way. He always, every week, I think Paqueta in Newcastle with his private jet. This is I never see this before. So as Mitch says, if the agent they want to see it happen, someone seeing happening. So now I could say it's why not, but it's the question is Eddie Howe prefer this kind of because sometimes you don't want to lose the driver's seat, especially for the coach. You don't want to start making there is 2 sides of the story. And if you want to see chemistry, it's good, because for example, if we take Paris Saint-Germain, they have great players, but the chemistry is it's too much poor between the players. So it's good to have players coming along with a good chemistry together. But does that affect the team unity or not? This is, I think, something to be questionable.
Yeah, Firmino getting a shout, Origi getting a shout, Steve. Lots of names getting.
Steve, sorry to interrupt. Can I just say before you go to Steve there, Paqueta is the Brazilian number 10, and we were linked with Firmino. Sorry, not Firmino. The guy Aston Villa on loan.
Coutinho.
And he's what, 6-7 years older than him, or he's older than him anyway. He's in the squad in front of him. He wants to quite clearly. He wants to come to Newcastle. So do you get any be cheaper salary wise? And you think, well, it's common sense. And the nice thing is we've got someone who is number 10 for Brazil. It's an iconic shirt. Who, by all intents and purposes, apparently wants to come and sign for Newcastle United. How good's that?
Yeah, no, it is good, Steve. It's positive, isn't it? The noise is already coming out. St James's Park are positive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, he flew in yesterday, from what I understand, and you could see how Bruno's taken to it, and he cannot have. Well, he'll have seen Monday night, whether he saw the game on TV or whether he's seen it subsequently, and he'll have heard it from Bruno how great things were. You cannot not want to come here. If I was him, especially if it's his mate, he's going to settle here. Whereas if he goes to Arsenal or Man United, which are probably the ones that would be trying to get him, I cannot see him being wanted at Liverpool or Man City. But it's the other two teams will be after. I would think he's going to be sold Newcastle by Bruno better than them. I think overall, bringing in, I think I'm with Mitch and others have saying not paying 40 million for a backup keeper, but I think we do need a better backup keeper than what we've got. So I think, but I'm reasonably happy with Dubravka at this stage. But I think we need another centre half in. I think whether we go back for Botman and Carlos. I think there was a comment on before that somebody had been watching Carlos play and he was good. We've obviously got to sort left back out. It's going to be Matt Target at least, and I'll be happy with Matt Target. But if they've got somebody better lined up, then no complaints there. Yes, I would be with Stu and get both Phillips and Paqueta in the midfield, and Man City and them and Liverpool have got a big squad of quality midfield players and forwards covering all positions, so we don't need that. And then up front, Eki Teki's been mentioned again, who will try to get on the deadline day in January. He's another one. I think there was talk about a loan to buy deal. I think was mentioned the other day somewhere. I think I read on Twitter. Would probably get if maybe him and that sort of image, and still possibly Lingard from Man U. He's mates, I think, with Trippier. So I think, as a squad player at a high level squad player, these players, and they're going to be rotated. It's not going to be a squad that's going to have the first 11 and you'll not get a game. I think we'll be rotating like the other teams do. And so these players are going to get plenty of first team action, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's come to the end of the show. 1 hour up, and as always, fantastic contributions from the lads and from everybody watching. As you know, Geordies here, Geordies there. We do ask you to send in photographs of you around the world. Big thanks to Mark Byers. Says one for Geordies here, Geordies there. Oklahoma, Tulsa Zoo, Mark and his daughter. Thanks for that, Mark. Good to see that. No idea where this is, Mick, but thanks for sending it. You've got a pint. You've got your tune top on. That's all that matters, mate. But thank you for sending it anyway. And just a quick announcement. Back in the saddle again with events, and I'm bringing Tyson Fury to Newcastle once again. We've booked the date in now. Newcastle, 7th of July. Venue and tickets to be announced next week. But keep an eye out on my website, newcastlelegends.com. For more information. So Tyson Fury is coming back to the Northeast. Lads, as always, been a pleasure. I'm back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock with Supermac and Gibbo. But for now, it's thanks from me and the lads. Take care, lads. Good night.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Soon.